With me to discuss is the administrator, Mr. Philip Korto. Your hospital hasn't had a lift for 20 years. How have you managed?
It has been a challenge that we have been dealing with. For instance, the pregnant women climb to the last floor, where we have the labor ward and where we have the operating theater, meaning that they have no choice than to climb up there for the services. In some occasions where they cannot walk, we are compelled as hospital workers to carry them up. We use oxygen cylinders up there. We carry them on a daily basis up and down because the elevator has not been working.
But what have you done as a hospital yourself to try and fix this?
We have exposed the problem to the general public. We have written letters to the authorities, but the point is that it actually needs replacement, not necessarily a repair, because the technical assessment on it revealed that it's beyond repairs. But we do not have what it takes to buy a new one to fix. That's how come we are dealing with it this way.
Do you have any assurance as to how soon you might have this?
The assurances have been there, but unfortunately, we haven't gotten to the point where it's replaced.
So in the interim, the pregnant woman will continue to be lifted up, the cylinders will continue to be carried up?
Unfortunately, yes.
Do you have people stationed to be carrying those who need to be carried up?
Not necessarily. We have our hospital orderlies. Sometimes you will see nurses helping the mothers, not necessarily carrying them, but supporting them in the armpits to be able to climb or descend.
And there I just see a pregnant woman who is climbing the stairs. I see she's in some bit of difficulty. Let's go have a conversation with her.
As you can see, as a pregnant woman, sometimes if you are due and you are climbing the steps, you feel dizzy, sometimes you get tired, and you have to stop for a while before coming up. And also if some emergency happen like that, some people have to carry the pregnant woman up, and so it's difficult. I wish if we get a lift, it will help.
Are you afraid for yourself because you are almost due that it may happen to you? Or you are praying against it?
Yeah, I'm afraid. Sometimes my heart beats. That even if I'm going down, coming up, I become afraid and my heart starts beating, so I'm afraid.
Authorities at the La General Hospital say its internally generated funds cannot build a new modern elevator for the hospital. The malfunctioning elevators at this hospital have been on the tables of successive governments and health ministers. A decision to fix a new one is yet to be taken. Until their requests attract some attention, patients and their relatives will continue to laboriously walk up and down the stairs, even in labor, and at worst pray for kind hospital staff who will carry them when their strength fails to carry them through. I am Hannah Odami for Joy News.
Let's stay with the hospitals. And patients seeking medical care at the Ridge Hospital on Tuesday were turned away because the hospital is struggling to provide services due to a strike by nurses and midwives there. Now, the over 500 nurses and midwives have laid down their tools to demand unpaid salaries. Now, the problem has been attributed to challenges with the new payroll system.
The 556 nurses and midwives laid down their tools in protest of the unpaid March salary. Patients seeking medical care at the hospital were turned away as the outpatient department was not receiving new cases, but attending to inpatient and emergency cases. The aggrieved nurses, who fear they will be victimized, say hospital officials did not heed to their calls for their complaint to be addressed. But officials at the hospital say they cannot be faulted. Administrator Emmanuel Tadi says the error was as a result of a new payroll system introduced by the Accountant General's department.
We had a problem validating our electronic payment voucher for the nursing staff, which has resulted in the entire nursing staff not being paid for the month of March 2015. When our attention was brought that they were not paid for the month, we quickly made a representation to the Controller and Accountant General to find out the issue. And also whether it was possible to do a supplementary payment voucher for them. controller told us that it was not possible. But however, they assured us that they will pay them the March salary together with the April salary in April. So they will rectify the anomaly. So one weekend we engaged the leadership of the nurses. So what we told them was that management could arrange with their banks to give them overdraft or advance salary. Yeah, advance salary in lieu of what we pay to them the following month. So that when they will write to all the banks, if possible, we'll meet the bank managers, explain the difficulty to them so that they can pay them. But the nurses were not comfortable with that arrangement because they said there will be bank charges at the end of it, and they are not ready to bear those bank charges.
Ridge Hospital officials have been meeting with the heads of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association to resolve the impasse.
And what management has decided to do now is to advise the nurses to take some bank overdrafts, and then they will see how to resolve the matter. But the nurses are not in agreement with this because the commission of the overdraft management says they aren't going to pay. And so that is where we have come to. And then we are addressing the matter. We are meeting the nurses tomorrow. And management will also be engaged in a discussion and see whether they will indeed take the overdraft.
Until then, patients who go to the Ridge Hospital seeking services of these essential staff will be turned away until the hospital meets their demands. Matilda Pumaga for Joy News, Accra.
We are told on the back of the story that authorities of the Ghana Registered Nurses Association are in a meeting to try and resolve this particular problem. We'll bring you up to speed with that particular one as and when we are able to reach authorities of both sections. Now, moving on, Deputy Lands and Natural Resources Minister Designate Kwabna Minta Akando is proposing the inclusion of a criteria for measuring competence of municipal, metropolitan and district chief executives, their plan of action to address challenges facing the environment, as well as their action plan to prevent illegal mining.
You all recall, His Excellency the President constituted a presidential task force to clamp down on those who are involved in the galamsey. What is going on at the moment is that the ministry is constituting committees, mineral committees at the district level, so that they will get the local people involved in checking some of these things, and I'm all for it. Mr. Chairman, again, what probably if this committee clears me, I will also humbly suggest to my minister probably to push it at the cabinet level is that I think that the MMDC should own this activity, so that if possible, Mr. Chairman, if possible, it could be one of the criteria for assessing our MMDCs. Because I say so, Mr. Speaker, because if you build all the schools, all the roads and all the schools and all the roads, schools, and all the infrastructures, and then still you have your environment depleted, it's not worth it.
Well, the Deputy Minister Designate also outlined plans to tackle the increasing depletion of the forest when given the nod.
The rate at which the forest is getting depleted is quite alarming, and as part of His Excellency's transformational agenda, there's a policy to move from the consumptive approach to the non-consumptive approach, where the few that is left will be creating some eco-tourism parks, and then the already degraded portions, they will release the portions to individuals, especially the communities around the forest reserve, to plant the trees. So in that case, we'll be replenishing the forest, so we'll get our economic trees back, and then again, we'll be food sufficient. And so they will plant food, and then as a country, we'll get food. Finally, it will also create employment for the people within those areas.